I'm Adam Johnson. My wife and I have grown our real estate business from nothing into the millions, and now my life's purpose is to show you how we did it so that you can do the same. Starting this month, I'm uploading a ton of free and very helpful videos that will be your step-by-step guide to starting an Airbnb business utilizing our go-to property acquisition technique called Subject to. Follow along these course videos, take notes, and dive into the exciting, challenging, yet very rewarding world of real estate investing with me, Adam Johnson. Enjoy.
Welcome back. I'm your host, Adam Johnson. Now we're going to talk about how to protect your properties, your asset, your business, because I promise you, no one is going to care as much as you care. So it's up to you to put the systems in place, to put the rules in place, to watch your properties, to manage so that nothing, or at least mitigate any bad things happening. Because in business, dealing with the public, there are going to be things that go wrong. That's just part of being a business owner. It's up to you to minimize damages, mitigate potential problems. And I'm going to give you the systems that we use and some of the principles that we use to minimize any issues. Now, we've had over 4,000 short-term rental guests, 4,000. We probably have had less than 50 major problems. So that's a pretty good percentage if you do the math. But that goes to show that things are going to happen. So if you're getting into business and you don't do well with conflict or problems, you may need to hire someone to manage things for you. You may need to, I don't know, maybe even have a CEO. That's not what we're here for. We're here to teach you to run your business. We're to teach you the systems that we use. I want you to be responsible for your properties, the security, the safety of your assets. So let's jump right into it, guys. What we're going to talk about today is we're going to talk about the type of insurance you need, because your traditional landlord policy will not suffice in most states to cover a short-term rental. We'll talk about the house rules, some of the high points that are going to, again, hopefully mitigate potential problems let me just say one more time there, things are going to happen, okay? If you're getting into business thinking nothing bad's going to happen, that's not how this is going to work. So I want to teach you the right way to mitigate, minimize potential issues. We'll talk about maintaining control of your property, maintaining control, having cameras, having a Wi-Fi thermostat, amongst a few other things, and why we use these systems. We'll talk about maintaining your property. All right. Everything, as I said in the previous modules, that we always think long-term. Everything we do is long-term. So we're not trying to put a Band-Aid on a problem. We're trying to fix things right the first time, because down the road, we're going to make that money back tenfold. And then we'll talk about how to cancel a reservation. Unfortunately, you're going to have guests that just don't care about the property, don't care about your house rules, don't care about your policies. And you need to be able to have the knowledge or have the understanding of how to cancel those reservations, again, to protect you and your property and you and your assets. So let's jump right into it. Insurance, okay? So I'm gonna run down the types of insurance, not to insult anyone's intelligence, but just so we're all on the same page, okay? Your homeowner's insurance is if I live in the property, it's my personal residence, I'm insuring my home, okay? That goes without saying. A landlord policy is a house that I own, but I do not live in, and I have tenants in that property. A landlord policy usually only covers the structure itself, not the contents within. So a landlord policy covers the structure, not the contents within, because you have other people's stuff in there. That's not, if you're not living in it, why would your landlord policy cover that? All right. And then you have a tenant policy, which is tenants living in my property, living in a property that they do not own, but they want to insure their personal belongings. So they're not insuring the structure, they're only insuring their personal belongings. And then lastly, you have STR, short-term rental insurance. Now, the three previous I just mentioned, those are long-term situations, okay? In Tennessee and in most states, any reservation under 6 months is considered a short-term reservation. So most insurance policies will not cover short-term rentals. All right, so you need a specific short-term renter policy. We use Proper Insurance, as we've used for quite some time. There's quite a few out there, but not a ton at this moment, because it's still relatively new. So like, USAA, Farm Bureau, those bigger insurance companies, to date, to my knowledge, they don't have a product that will cover short-term rentals. Now, there's good and bad with the short-term rental policy, like with anything else. The bad part is that in my experience, it's about double the yearly payout. So usually for me, a 3-bedroom, 2-bathroom house, the insurance on that property as a landlord policy may be $850 a year, maybe $900. That same property, when converted into a short-term rental, that insurance is about $1,900, $1,700 to $1,900. So it doubles. Now, that's the bad part. But what the STR insurance does do for us is obviously it covers the short-term rental. So even if we have a guest that stays for one night, we're covered. The structure's covered. Everything is covered. All of my contents in the property, because as I stated before, a traditional landlord policy does not cover the contents in the house. My short-term rental policy, because this is my house and my contents in the home, the short-term rental policy does cover the contents in the home. It also covers loss of income. So let's say that a guest destroyed something, or even better, we'll say that there was a tornado that destroyed the house altogether. If it takes 6 months for the house to be rebuilt, my short-term rental policy will cover loss of income for those 6 months, okay? If I had a traditional landlord policy, or even a landlord policy, none of that would be covered. None of that would be covered because again, I was operating it not to the terms on which the landlord policy covers, okay? So let me just really beat that to death. If you're running a short-term rental business, you need short-term rental insurance. We use proper insurance. We've had a great experience with them. I'm sure there are many more out there, but I can't speak on something I haven't dealt with. So proper insurance is a great short-term rental insurance. Check them out. House rules. All right, so let me just say this, okay? When it comes to your house rules, it's up to you to have everything in your house rules that apply to your house that you will and will not tolerate. Now, that being said, about 80% of the tenants that rent the homes do not read prior to booking. They do not read the house rules prior to booking. So our policy is that the house rules are there to be read. If you don't read them, that's on you. However, once you book, I immediately send you another message. I have automated messaging set up through different systems that, again, just reiterates the high points. So, you know, if you're bringing pets, let me know. Check-ins at 4 p.m., blah, 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 all those types of things. But the average short-term rental guest does not read the house rules prior to booking, all right? It's on you, the homeowner, to ensure that they've read them prior to checking in your property. So our policy, our practice is, at least, is after you book with us, my assistant will reach out to you and tell you to confirm you've read the house rules. I have in writing that you read the house rules, and whether you did or not, again, all I can do is protect myself and be as diligent as possible as getting the information to you and you confirming you've read them as the guest. I'm saying this as the guest. So the house rules are super important for quite a few reasons. It set the parameters on what's going to happen in your property, what's right, what's wrong, what you're going to allow, what's not going to happen in your house. So what we do, one of the main things that we do that changed everything for us, we've been doing this for about a year now, we've been requiring the guests to upload a photo ID to us. Why? Because on Airbnb and VRBO, a lot of those websites, they have dummy accounts. We've hosted twice a guy with his name was Felix, and his photo ID on his profile was a picture of Tupac. For you younger people, Tupac died in the 90s. So I've hosted Tupac twice. What I'm getting at is the platforms don't do their due diligence to ensure they have the right people on the reservations or even that the account is real. They don't care as long as they're getting paid. As I said before, it's up to me, the owner, the business owner, to ensure that I'm protecting my property. So I want to make sure, number one, that I have the right person in my home. But secondly, most importantly, the reason we require a photo ID is because if a person damages anything in my property and they're an Airbnb guest, for example, it's hard to get a claim through Airbnb. It's hard for them to pay for anything, even $20 for a few towels. It's really hard to deal with. So in the event something kind of catastrophic happened, I have their photo, I have their first and last name, their home address. If I need to, God forbid, for my attorney to go find them, we have the information. So when we began requiring a photo ID, we saw a drastic drop in dumb stuff, like a drastic reduction of bad guests or bad things happening because they had something to lose. They had something tying them to the property now. So photo ID changed everything for us. We in our policy is we don't allow additional guests outside the reservation. So my policy is if you book for 3 people in our home, that's it. Only 3 people can come in the property. Now, this is just our policy. By all means, you run your business how you want to run your business. But what we found is that people will book for 2 people and they'll bring 5 people over because we have additional fees for additional guests. That's just how we do our pricing structure. So it's in our house rules. Only the people on the reservation are allowed in the home. As simple as that. If you want to bring extra people, then we can add them to the reservation and they can pay for our services as opposed to just freeloading and using extra water, extra utilities, all that kind of stuff, extra wear and tear on the property. So that's what we do. Again, that has mitigated obviously parties and that kind of stuff. So I recommend having some kind of restrictions as far as guest count, as far as additional people. You don't have to, but we do. The check-in and check-out time. Our check-in time is 4 p.m., not a second before. Our checkout time is 10 a.m., not a second later. We do allow early check-ins on certain case-by-case situations, but not many. Here's why this is important. Because if you're booking through Airbnb, Airbnb only insures or is responsible for the reservation within the reservation time frame. So if our Airbnb guest books and the reservation begins at 4 and they want to check in at 2, if something bad happens, if something bad happens before 4 p.m., Airbnb is not on the hook for it. All right. You took that risk by allowing them into your house prior to the reservation beginning. So keep that in mind that they're not responsible. So our policy is 4 o'clock check-in. Now, I'm gonna talk about this in a slide or two here in a little bit about controlling your door lock system and why that kind of plays hand in hand with the check-in check-out time. We'll get to that in a minute. Your house rules should also very clearly state your pet policy. Are you pet friendly? Are you not pet friendly? Do you want to have a 20-pound limit max for dogs? It's your property and it's at your discretion. What we do, we allow up to 2 pet max, no breed restrictions, and we charge a pet fee. All right. If you want to bring 3 pets, you can't stay in my house. Now, what Airbnb will do is Airbnb views service animals and emotional support animals as the same. Now, the state of Tennessee does not. I'm not sure about your state, but the state of Tennessee does not recognize emotional support animals. They do recognize service animals. Excuse me. So again, it's at my discretion, my policy to say someone can or cannot stay in my home. I've had Airbnb guests try to say they had 3 emotional support animals, and I told them no. Airbnb kind of gave me a slap on the wrist and they blocked my calendar for a couple of days. I don't care. I do direct bookings as well. I do not rely solely on Airbnb. We'll talk about that in the last module when we talk about direct bookings. So I'm going to say it 1,000 more times. It's your property. It's my property. It's on me to protect my property. I don't care whatsoever about Airbnb's policies when it comes to protecting my house, okay? And again, I'm gonna talk a lot more about that. But also at the very end of our house rules, we have a release of liability. Simple as that, which states that nothing, if you fall and break your hip or something like that, you can't come after us. Something happens while you're on our property for your negligence, you cannot come after us. That's not how this is gonna work. So have a release of liability, have an attorney draw up, 1 paragraph, very professional-like, and put it in your house rules on the very bottom or the top, whatever you want to do. But I recommend having a release of liability to cover your butt because people will try to. We've had people attempt to scam us, and we're still standing. Nothing never happened with that because of our house rules and that release of liability. Super important. Skip that one. How to maintain control of your property. All right. I'm gonna talk about the first 3 is the door lock system, the Wi-Fi thermostat, and then surveillance camera. We don't use a noise monitor, but I've heard other people that do, and they have a great success with it. We just don't. I'm not saying nothing good or bad about it, but you must be able to remotely, from anywhere in the world, control certain systems within your house because, again, it's your property. So first thing we'll talk about is the door lock system. We use the August door lock system, okay? This is so important because this door lock system allows me to issue door codes for a certain parameter of time. As I said, our check-in time is 4 p.m. Our checkout time is 10 a.m. Before we began using the door lock system, we would tell the Airbnb guests, here's your code, check-in's at 4 o'clock. And it was just a regular mechanical lockbox that you see hanging on the door with a key inside of it. Well, if they had the code already, they can just go in. So quite a few times, we had people check into our home at 12 o'clock in the evening, at 1 o'clock. We've had people walk in behind our cleaners, and that's a safety issue. That's not okay. So what we found is when we do these, since we've been implementing this door code with the remote system using the August system, when I issue the door code and it says 4 p.m., if a person shows up at 3:57 and punch the door code in, they cannot get in the home, can't get in the home. So many times we've had people arrive at 1, 2 o'clock in the evening, 2 or 3 hours prior to check-in, punch the code in, and then call me saying the door code doesn't work. That just goes to show you how much they don't read. But my house is protected. So I just tell them, yeah, but that's because the reservation begins at 4 p.m. Simple as that. By having this system in place, I prevent people from entering my home whenever they feel like it. All right. We control the people getting into our home. Simple as that. Another thing is that the parameters of it goes off at 10 a.m. the day they check out. So if a guest leaves the house, they try to come back in at 1 o'clock in the evening because they think they have the code, so they cannot get in the home. That has happened so many times. So I can't beat this to death enough. You need to have remote control of people entering your property. All right. So that door system, there's many others out there. We use the August, we use the keypad system, and it's been very beneficial and has changed everything. I have a much better warm feeling inside knowing that people cannot get into my home unless I allow them to get in my home. And I can check this. We were in Africa last year. I was checking my little door systems, making sure everything was good to go, issuing door codes before going out on a safari. I love having remote control of the properties, no matter where we are in the world. So get that door system. Wi-Fi thermostats. This may sound kind of petty. I understand. Let me just tell you, okay? Here's what happens. Here's what used to happen before we installed these Honeywell T6 Pro Series Wi-Fi thermostats. When we had the traditional thermostats on there with no parameters, no guidelines, in the summertime, it'd be 102 degrees in Tennessee, and people would put the AC unit down to 60 degrees and leave all day long. My unit's just burning up. That's my utility bill, plus the wear and tear on my unit. Likewise, in the wintertime, it would be, 17 degrees outside, and people would put the thermostat on 85 degrees, leave the house in the morning, come back, the unit's just burning all day long. With this series, with the T6 Pro Series, we can put parameters on the thermostat itself. So what we do is in the summertime, the unit will go no lower than 72 degrees. In the wintertime, the unit will go no higher than 74 degrees. Those are all parameters. You're more than welcome to do whatever you want, but at the end of the day, those are my bills to pay. And we've seen people, again, try to set it all the way up in the morning time, leave, even right now, even as we implement this system. But it's okay because 74 degrees is much more manageable than 85 degrees in the wintertime. So you must, well, again, these are things I recommend. You do whatever you want to, it's your business. I recommend having control of that thermostat remotely and being able to put block parameters on there because it's your bills. Those people are on vacation. They don't care that it's spinning or working all day long. They don't care that they put on 85 degrees and it's 17 degrees outside. They do not care, but you are the one paying the bills. So that T6 Pro Series is we have in all 22 of our Airbnbs on the app. It's very easy to use. Nothing but great things to say about it. Surveillance cameras. We use the Ring camera. Ring door cameras are excellent. There are many makers out there that make similar products. We've been using the Ring again on all the properties. The two you see are the doorbell and also the over the garage light, the exterior light. In my opinion, the best bang for your buck is to get the one over the garage. It is hardwired. It will never need a battery. The camera is absolutely amazing. It's about 140 degree visibility. It can zoom in, very, very good camera. Why is this important? Because as I said before, we don't allow parties, we don't allow extra people, and we've seen it so many times of people trying to bring in extra people. When I can see on my camera, there 5 cars showed up, I can immediately go, as I said before, to the door lock system, and I can cancel the door code. You're not getting in my house with 15 people. Plus, that camera is evidence of any wrongdoing by the guest. So many, many times I've had to submit a claim to Airbnb, and I had the video evidence, picture evidence of, wherever the case may be, a party that they tried to have or whatever the situation is. But you must have eyes on your property. As you can see, I have in parentheses that you must disclose in your property description, whether it be direct booking or any of the platforms, you must disclose that you have exterior surveillance camera. We have a little blurb that says exterior surveillance camera mounted at the door or mounted over the garage facing the driveway, pointing towards the road, something of that nature. You gotta disclose it. You gotta protect your property. And at the end of the day, it's on you, again, because Airbnb does not care if they have a party in your house. They could care less. It's up to you to protect your property. So we use the Ring camera, no complaints, love it, very easy to use, very easy. The app on the phone, super easy to use. We love it. Maintenance, guys. So not only protecting your property is not only protecting bad things from happening from the actual guest, but it's also maintaining your property so that it's good for the next couple of years. Because when you're running this business, you're not thinking short term. You're not thinking, I hope we can make it through another couple months. My philosophy is make it right. Anytime I have a problem with anything in the house, and I call a handyman, a plumber, electrician, or whatever, and they always call me, Mr. Johnson, we can do this, or this. And here's my response always. I always say, sir, if it was your home, how would you fix it? Simple as that. I want things done the right way the first time because it's going to last years down the road. Please understand that in this business, you should not be a penny pincher. You want to spend the money needed to make the property continue working for you. It's the people that try to do the penny pinching and try to do stuff on their own. And if you have the capability to fix things on your own, then more power to you. But most of us do not, including myself. I can fix small things, but I would much rather have a professional licensed plumber, a professional licensed electrician taking care of those big ticket items and doing it the right way the first time instead of kind of halfway doing it, trying to save a few pennies. That, in my opinion, is the wrong answer. And we've had that philosophy from day one. Even when we had almost no money trying to start out, we still had the understanding of this is long-term investing, and I want to make it right now because it's going to last years and years to come. What I have found in my experience is when you do a halfway job, you end up doing it twice. So if you get the guy to kind of put a Band-Aid on a problem, it's going to resurface almost every single time. So think long-term. Do not be cheap. Do it right the first time because this is your money maker. This is your livelihood. This is your passive income working towards financial freedom. This is not a weekend, money maker. We're talking about years to come here. Be proactive. What we do is each month I have a handyman or myself or my wife will go through the properties and we'll touch everything. We'll touch every chair. We'll open every door. We'll look at, make sure all the lights are working. We're always proactively looking for any issues just to keep up the maintenance so that we catch things early. A leaky faucet can be a $15 fix or a $1,500 fix. So catch it early, fix it up front, fix it the right way, and let the house continue making you money. And as I said at the bottom, so get a professional to help. I always want someone that's more knowledgeable and better than me doing anything. If I'm doing it, we're in trouble. I want the professional because not only is the professional trained, but hear me out, the professional that is doing the work for you is now liable for that work. If anything goes wrong, you can call them back. You can call the boss. You can call the company, have them come back. If I mess up a problem, it's on me. Now I have to pay somebody to do it right anyway. I'd rather have it done right the first time, even if it's going to cost me regardless. I'd rather have a professional that's liable in the event that their work is not satisfactory. They have to come back out and fix it. And that's better than me trying to do it. So don't think short term, think long term. Don't be a penny pincher. Get things done, get them fixed the right time, the right way the first time. So we talked about systems, we talk about maintenance. Now, here's what's going to happen. You're going to have bad guests. It's going to happen. We try to identify potential bad guests leading up to the reservation before they ever check in. Okay. We do that through our messaging. We do it through our points of contact. So I have my assistant to call them the week of the reservation. We ask certain questions, and if certain things don't sound right and I'm not comfortable, I have the leisure of canceling that reservation. I don't care. I don't care about Airbnb's cancellation policy because it's not their house. I don't care about some review. I don't care about that kind of stuff. I care about a $200,000 asset that's my property. Okay. Please, for all of you getting into Airbnb, please, 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 I want you to shift your mindset if you ever were this kind of person of caring about a review as opposed to protecting your property. I tell people no a lot, which people don't like being told no. When someone asks, can we have 4 dogs in the house, or can we have my 7 nieces and nephews over, and I say no, they don't like that, and they give me a bad review, and I'm okay with that. I'm completely fine with that. It's my house, it's my property, it's my maintenance, it's my roof, it's my floor, it's my walls. I have to protect my stuff. So you will be probably canceling reservations, hopefully not frequently, but maybe once a year, maybe twice a year, hopefully not too frequently, but just be prepared to do that. So how do you do that? And how do you do that to protect yourself so that it doesn't reflect bad on you? Well, one is your house rules, okay? The house rules are there. As I said, they're there before the person books. We send them again after they book, and we also have a list of the house rules on the refrigerator. As 3 times they should have been able to see the rules. And if they break the rules, then I can't make them read them. I can't make a guest read the rules. So when you cancel because they broke the rules, you need the evidence. So the surveillance cameras evidence, some of the messaging, people say things all the time. They just start talking, they'll say, yeah, we had 5 people over, or whatever the case may be. So when that happens, you just simply, gather all the evidence, gather the pictures, the video, take screenshots of the text messages, whatever the issue is, and call customer support. Send text message them the proof and get them out of your property. I can't say it enough, guys. I just feel like because I'm in these forums, I'm on Facebook, I talk to people who have Airbnbs, and they just complain and gripe about Airbnb not protecting their property. And I always say they're not going to. It's not their house. So I personally have went to properties quite a few times, knocked on doors, and told people to get out of my house. Simple as that. I don't recommend that to anybody. I'm comfortable putting myself in that situation. If that's not who you are, call the cops. Call the cops and have them go out there to remove them from your property. So, but at the end of the day, protect your property, guys. So I hope you guys got a lot out of that, a lot of information. It's your house, it's your business. Your house rules go a long way. Having remote control and remote access to your property goes a long way. And at the end of the day, no one cares as much as you do. So hope you got something out of that. Get ready for the next class. I'll see you guys later.
Thank you for watching. If you got lots of value from our free content, you're going to love the one-on-one coaching, group coaching, and seminars that we offer on our website at reisimplified.co. We look forward to guiding you through the early steps of building your business, buying real estate, and working towards financial freedom. Let's go buy some houses.